Hello, welcome. This is Dina, and we're doing an Ancestors reading today. So we're going to just get three. I think we've got one flipped in the deck. Let's just keep on going. Okay. And three fell out. Okay. Kaladhara. Beautiful priestess energy, maybe a Taurus. Mother of Mercy. A fair, just, and kind individual. And 8 Immortals. So the 8 Immortals comes through as maybe like a generational line here that has a message to say. Like your family line has a specific narrative that everyone has been dealing with, like let's say poverty or something like that. So okay, under the deck, Sisters of the Sun Rising. Interesting. Especially since our first individual is shown at twilight here. Alright, let's put some code cards on each one of these. First, Kaladhara. What is the message here? She seems to be somebody who watches the planets. Belief. Yeah, that Taurian Hierophant energy comes through the belief card here. Somebody who had very strong crown connection to either faith, spirituality, religion, astrology, astronomy, and discernment on that one. Belief and discernment. Be careful what you believe. And compassion under the deck. So I do want to read these as we go just a little bit so we can hear all the messages. She's not bound by appearances, opinions, or material limitations. She is both the void and the infinite creative potential that arises from it. Do not be afraid of uncertainty. If you feel you're without resources, take comfort now. Where there is lack, she restores abundance. She can bring forth exquisite blessing and glorious manifestation from the sacred expanse of nothingness. Your soul can rely upon her completely. Cast your fears away. Hers is the power of the universe, combined with the generosity of grace. So the first ancestral message is talking about breaking through self-limiting beliefs and being able to see possibility and potential and to speak that into existence. So flipping out, I don't normally take any of these in reverse, but the Divine Feminine card came out in reverse. And this is coming out as this feminine priestess energy and I have throat chakra under the deck, and she's got blue gems, those blue eyes. It's like she may have had a lot of, let's say, religious dogma or some other type of morality issues that were projected onto others, and in so doing wasn't as nurturing of other individuals or as unconditionally loving and accepting of other individuals, but still in her own right was quite exalted in what was right for her own path here. Fertility and perception came out. So this person had an abundance of beliefs, a lot to say about, says alchemy next. So they had a lot to say about alchemy, like how to get what you want, how you should be, like dinner table type of, what do you call that, decorum or social traits, It's like somebody who would groom you so that to avoid judgment and to put a perception of being a good homemaker or family matriarch or something like that, right? So that's a little different and interesting. I'd like to get just a couple other cards on this one. Using your belief. So what is the situation? Starlight. Yeah, so this is saying that even though you may have had somebody that had all of these ideas and ideals for yourself and for themselves and projected them onto you, these core beliefs that this person engaged in their life are not the best for you, and right now there's something interfering with your belief in yourself that was an unintended inner perception that you had about either how abundant your life is or how well you're sitting right now. Like fertility to me right now is sort of telling me that you're sitting in a really good position to experience extreme growth and prosperity, but for whatever reason, the energy is going astray with doubt or fear, because starlight is talking about, again with the stars, the sun, the moon, the planets here. Starlight is about being able to connect to your hopes and dreams and wishes. Under the deck, Weaver of Challenges. That may represent this individual, again, being a little bit more stone-hearted or cold, aloof, frozen in time. It's like this grandmother, stoic grandmother type of imagery to me in that picture, or stepmother or something. And then I'm getting Two of Boons. This is somebody that's just going about their day, trying to carry these heavy burdens, and then there's this troll under the bridge. I don't know what that noise just was. So it seems like just when you're doing the work, then you're afraid of these lower energies and their perceptions of you. And then we have Six of Boons. Maybe somebody who's very generous but doesn't keep enough back for yourself in some way. Like maybe you're trying to burden yourself by taking care of yourself and everybody else, and have not allowed yourself to manifest your own abundance and your own well-being and riches into your life. Like you've allowed it to just kind of flow right through your hands, like grains of sand through the fingers. But I sense that this is going to need to change. Five of Spells. Competitive nature, judgment, and the use of your energy. And Eight of Vision. This is like my lost soul parts card. Like, oh, I didn't do this right, didn't do that right. I never succeeded at this thing, or that relationship broke up, and focus upon all of those things instead of the self-belief. It's like you've really been stuck in something. Let's change decks and see what else we can get. I will try this deck here. Queen of Feathers is under the deck. That's the same as the Weaver of Challenges in that deck. So let's see here. So what's the more positive aspect of this? It's like having been living in a bit of a dream or in somebody else's manifestation, maybe even, well, being groomed for some type of a specific career and feeling that lack of success and abundance while still having money perhaps, but still feeling that scarcity because you're not being yourself. You're not out there being all that you're supposed to become. Stability and attainment with the Ten of Crystals. This very much could be family, money. Four of Acorns with comfort and community under the deck. Comfort, community, stability, and attainment. Yeah, it's something about socializing and the way that other people look at you and how other people want to live their lives in contrast to what makes you happy. This crocodile energy is interesting too. They're kind of creepy, slimy reptiles, go in swamps, and stability and attainment. That's an interesting one. It's almost like remaining in the image of the cold, frozen in time parent saying, or parent, grandparent, whatever, and saying, oh, well, look at all these jewels that I've attained. They'd be proud of me. But I'm seeing the difference of the jewels that surround you here and the bills and all the status symbols and the materialism is actually feeling a bit like this on a different level. And so maybe you're engaging a sense of emptiness or loss or never enough because nothing that you have is priceless. It all has a price tag. And there's this dragon energy of protecting the hoard at all costs, where comfort comes more through community. Anything else here? Okay, not all of them. We'll take these two. King of Feathers, logic and justice. This may be an air sign, Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. And with logic and justice, I could definitely see it being somebody like a Libra or with Libra in their chart. Two of Crystals, balance and adaptability. Look at that fast-paced bouncing away. These kangaroos are super fast. So it's kind of like a chariot card moving away from something. It's like understanding that you've already reached a level of stability and attainment and you can't go much further in this direction because it's not your path. There's nothing else there. And so having this crowning moment here where there's this enlightened realization that logically, if you're already stable, the next step is to move away from one thing and go into something that fits. Like maybe part of your limiting belief is staying in an unfulfilling relationship thus far. And with this logic and justice, it could be using the justice system to break free from that contract and dividing and splitting up assets and then moving away, creating balance, adapting to the change, and moving off into the sunset. And now under the deck we have the Hanged Man, patience and perspective. So perhaps having made a decision here in some type of a way, you're also taking a pause before taking action so that you understand where you're going, why you're doing what you're doing, and how to get there, and what it is that's going to take you through the next step of the journey. So let's take some of these handwritten real cards here to clear this one up here. What else is going on here? What can we talk about? What does this ancestor want to tell us? It's definitely about live your life for you, not for other people. Live a life full of love and not this manipulation and working with people that you can't trust. Everybody's out for themselves, getting over on each other type thing, like in the drudges of some type of corporate thing. Uranus breaking free. And you know, coming up very soon with the Lionsgate portal, we do have a bit of a crazy situation happening with Uranus. Uranus is going to be together with the North Node of Destiny in Taurus, the axis of the eclipses for the next several months into next year. And then Mars will have just gone through, passing by both of them, but still with an orb. So at the time of the Lionsgate, we're going to have the North Node at 18 degrees 20, then Uranus at 18 degrees 48, and then we'll have Mars, the activator and the initiator and the motivated actor and doer energy, coming through at 22 degrees 31. So that's 2 at 18 and then 22, and then Sedna at 29 degrees 51. And so it's poised right on the cusp of Taurus moving into Gemini. So the importance of that is Uranus is the revolutionary, the liberator. Mars is the acting force, and us initiating our impact upon something, motivations and our drives, instincts, our desires, and moving through that North Node of Destiny is breaking free from any limitation and taking action to reach for our highest, best good and into our highest path. And then Sedna is about the, I want to just call it the patriarchy in the Mormon moment. Was Granny a Mormon? I'm not sure. So, and this doesn't have to be a feminine. It could definitely be a masculine with this King of Feathers as well. And it could be an Aquarius because we have that Starlight card. So, I wanted to say about that, that patriarchal thing. It's like you should do this, that, and the other thing, or somebody else knows better than you, so stay small and let other people lead you that know more, you know, take your back seat type of a thing. And Sedna was the daughter of a woodsman that would reject all these suitors, and then finally he got sick of her and basically sold her off to the next bidder, not even the highest bidder. And I'm hearing bitterness, bittersweet. And so she married this guy, and then he transforms back into his real form of a crow, sticks her up in this nest high in this mountain, and then is going off and hunting and feeding her some dead birds and stuff in the nest. And she's crying so loud, her dad feels guilty. He comes back to rescue her, but then as soon as the crow comes in and starts dive bombing their getaway boat, the dad throws the daughter overboard, and ultimately, like, she's clinging onto the boat, and he literally chops her fingers off, and she sinks to the bottom in despair. And now the tangled hair that is down in the sea is like what will entangle other unsuspecting sailors if they don't appease her. And on the positive side, those severed fingers all transformed into beautiful aquatic life, like the walrus we saw, and the seals and fish and all of those type things. So in the sacrifice of your independence and your sacrifices for your whatever, your kids, your marriage, your job, or what you thought was right and true for you in the moment, is being asked to become part of what makes you better, not bitter. So it's time for you to have a glow up and to recognize that it's your time. So here we have a big stack that fell out. Define your path. Opportunity or distraction, medicine or poison. Consider the dose. So getting straight. 3-3-3-3. Ascending mastery here. Getting back to your creative center, your feminine co-creation. ability to nurture. And yin yang, this is your feminine and masculine sides counterbalancing each other, integrating the shadow and light, and being able to attract what is right and true, to align and embody in the right way, that you become magnetic, and from that point know when to act and how to act. Separation, take time for self-alignment. And secret admirer. So notice me learning your vibe. Somebody looking for a sign. So yeah, there was something about that cool, aloof, frozen heart appearance that makes you maybe unapproachable. So if you have a secret admirer, they don't know when or how to approach you. Your appearance is very intimidating and aloof. And maybe they think you just want to be friends, but there's some type of admonition maybe coming up, or an awakening coming up in the next 30 days possibly. Then we have Jupiter. Jupiter is currently at about 8 degrees, and then it's about to turn retrograde, and will be retrograde at still the 8th degree in Aries, which is the first sign of the zodiac. And so Zeus in Aries here is very expanding your own ability to trailblaze, to be unique and independent and sovereign, and to do things yourself and to not rely on social judgment. Ancestors are sending signs and synchronicities here. So expanding your leadership potential with this glow up and secret admirer is, and yin yang, you've got the right stuff. You're breaking free from self-limiting beliefs and are going to be able to speak in a different way here coming very soon. All right, Mother of Mercy, 19. I guess I could read you guys that. Oops, 19. Just like a sun that shines brightly, casting a strong shadow, your growing spiritual power needs to be expressed with the awareness that will have an effect on others, even if you're not completely conscious of that effect. To create peace in the expression of your power, we call upon the Mother of Mercy. Mercy tempers great strength and power with kindness, gentleness, compassion, and caring. The divine Kuan Yin brings the quality of mercy to you now as a divine gift, encouraging you to cultivate mercy in your dealings with others and to receive it for yourself now too. So this is giving me the impression of, and because it says mother, I'm going to go with the feminine again in this case, but this motherly aspect that had so much pressure put on herself, self-judgment that was also put upon others, that there may be inner judgment here, or it could have come through early situations where you didn't have control and you became in complete control of self and environment, and possibly others, giving those instructions to others. I have a few friends that love giving instructions. Oh, well, go do this. Oh, well, you should have done this. I do my best not to be that guy. But when you grow up with those people, it becomes part of your inner monologue, inner dialogue, without us necessarily knowing it. And so there's a need to be easy on yourself, and to recognize that when you're speaking to others in a way that doesn't feel good, that's ultimately possibly rooted in the way that you're speaking to yourself. You need to potentially stop holding yourself to such perfectionist standards, and accept radical acceptance of self and others will help with that mercy. Not everybody has the same capacity as yourself, or the same work ethic, and not everybody needs to be on the same path. So it's something about this person is possibly saying that they may have been extremely hard on you, and that now they witness the turmoil inside yourself when you feel less than perfect, or when you estrange yourself and create more solitude and isolation in that harsh judgment of others, even if it's unspoken, it's felt. So yeah, maybe there's going to be an opportunity where you could pass judgment, or you could rephrase a statement. So instead of like, oh, well, you should have done such and such, you can say, well, I wonder if you thought of something like this. I know that that's worked for me before, or something. Just softening the way of speaking in the moment takes it from dictation to curiosity, so that the suggestion of another option that may not have occurred to them can sit and commingle with their own objectives and thoughts and become something that serves them and isn't just something that you're telling them to do, because no one likes to take orders. In fact, most people would prefer to rebel when a direct order is given and you're not in charge of them directly, right? So universal love, yes. Radical self-acceptance of self and other. Emergence. And sacral chakra, yeah. Feeling worthy of respect and valuing yourself, being merciful with yourself with different type of self-care. So although it may be nourishing foods, hydration, movement, and all that good stuff on the physical level, I'm feeling that this is very much an inner dialogue where you need to be merciful to yourself and possibly practice some affirmations or something like that. Or even like if I'm thinking of a specific situation that was not funny but told in a humorous way, where somebody was having problems in the bedroom because they didn't feel good enough in the moment, and the more that they felt worse and worse, the worse that their issues became, because it was them being in their head. And so instead of tapping into that universal flow and just kind of maybe honoring that space of, oh, it feels good to be close to another individual, it became about performance and about perfection, and in falling short from perfection, there was interruption of performance. And so this individual started using affirmations verbally in the moment, and as they were going was saying, I'm good at this, I'm good at this, I'm good at this, or I'm doing good. And it's kind of silly and humorous in the moment, but really it's it changes everything. It's the inner dynamics that are coming through, and synergy on the bottom. So what goes on in the internal becomes the external. So dynamic to me seems like an emotional expression here. Emotional dynamic emergence. So maybe you've been repressed. Maybe that's what we're looking at here. Repressed emotions and expressed rule booking. You know, like you should do this, you should do that. And the emergence of your emotional center and your self-value comes through, and, oh, well, I'm sure you were doing your best. You know, acceptance of others, or like, well, that's pretty good, but I'd like you to practice this other thing. You know, speaking to your employees or your children or your soft-hearted friends. There's, also, maybe you are starting to speak better to yourself because of a new dynamic that's emerging in your close partnerships. Either, you know, the scary interruptus, or somebody who's actually like giving you those affirmations verbally now. And maybe your ancestors here are saying, yes, yes, finally. That's the thing that I couldn't figure out, and what I could never gift to other people. I always used my dynamic emotional intensity to judge and morally cajole others into doing what I thought that they should do type of information. Yeah. Okay. What other messages would we like to bring in here? Yes, being good to yourself, speaking kindly to yourself. That one flipped. What's that? The wide world, 21, with the liar, 15, under the deck. So walking away from gaslighting or manipulative individuals and recognizing that this is a very big world. So you may have surrounded yourself with other people that do this, and if they're not individuals that are consciously working with you in this flow, then you can try to shift their perspectives, you can try moving away from them, but I'm seeing you just respecting yourself. And yeah, there's all these little twinkling sparkles at the feet. It's like a new adventure, a new path opening up, and leaving these lies in the past. Because sometimes those people that judge you so harshly become that inner dialogue. It becomes the voice of your inner judge, an inner critic. And it can really damage your self-worth, especially if you believe that, let's say that you've got to be a certain size or shape. Okay, I was just shuffling and the liar flew out again. So the liar is very critical to your situation here, and getting them out of your head space. 5 of Boons again. And I saw 6 of something, the one where she's treed, if that comes out again, we'll see. 2 of Challenges. So there was some type of possible bullying in the past where this may have led you to acting in certain ways where now you're looking into yourself and recognizing your choice and practicing using your voice in a dynamic way to increase and to affirm the values of other individuals rather than to hurt them. Yeah, that man in the mirror. Weaver of Visions. This is the Queen of Cups. Yes, I feel like this is you understanding these messages of this bully, like, and reaching to yourself, into yourself to separate out. Yeah, the affirmations in the mirror. Yeah, mirror affirmations and looking at yourself in the mirror. You know, it's possible, no matter what size you are, to look at your entire body, or no matter how beautiful or plain you think that you are, it's incredibly possible to look into that mirror and look at every single thing that's wrong, and it's just as possible to look in that mirror and look at everything that's amazing about yourself. So instead of saying, oh, well, I could lose a few pounds or kilos, or I should really work out more and get these 20-inch biceps or whatever men want to have, instead of looking at those things, just think, you know, my body is very healthy. I have a good appetite because I utilize a lot of energy throughout the day. And when I don't get up and move, my brain and my emotional dynamic self still requires energy for just pumping my heart, breathing, and for working through things mentally. Mental work creates a lot of hunger as well, and we need to feed our bodies and our minds and our spirits with more than just food. So affirmations are definitely coming through here. All right, I need to miss that call. So next deck, on the positive end, what are some of these suggestions beyond affirmations? Okay, so we have the Page of Crystals, Ideas and Discipline, with the Fox energy. ideas and discipline. Yeah, that's that foxy energy. Having a disciplined way of thinking came out already, but we can discipline's a harsh word, isn't it? It encourages us to think about reward and punishment and rule books versus divine flow, or black and white instead of the gray area of this huge light spectrum that we're interacting within. Nothing is really so black and white because no one has the same precedent. Nobody has the same foundation or the same objectives and goals. And so using our ideas to herd others into a group think is a different use of energy, and it leads us to self-judgment, where if we expand our ideas to harness and self-control and self-censor the things that are harsh for others and for ourselves, then we can actually discipline our mind and our body and our spirit to look at solutions instead of problems, to look at possibility and potential instead of futility and apathy. Four of Shells, soul searching and reevaluation. Yeah, lots of spirals down there. You've been spiraling up and down the emotional scale, giving yourself some issues, like somebody may even not like their legs. I'm seeing these very long, slender legs. But who says everybody's got to be curvy? Who says everybody's got to be skinny? Maybe you think that you need to look a certain way or wear those 10-inch heels because you think that it does something different, but it breaks your back. There's something to really look into your reasons for doing something and to reevaluate what makes you feel good about yourself. Heels might look good, but boy, they don't really feel good, most of them. Ace of Shells, happiness and abundance. Yeah, there's that. The turtle imagery always tells me that the turtle travels with its home on its back. Home is where the heart is. And I see that you may be needing to take take a trip to travel, possibly wanting to travel the world and get some new experiences, but may not know what lies ahead. It's just like recognizing that you are where you've always been, at your center, and that when you're connected with that self and that soul center, you do have abundance, flow, and happiness. And then under the deck, I had Ace of Acorns, and then it shifted off, and the one below it was revealed the King of Acorns. So maybe an Aries here, or maybe calling out to those same Aries influences where using your creative force for building confidence in yourself and others will unlock this next leg of the journey. Having the confidence to go out and travel by yourself, or however it needs to happen, can really unlock the next phase of your journey. King of Acorns is optimism and innovation. So having the optimism to see through some of those false things, like whatever your particular wound may be, it's recognizing that we have the potential for change, and that those things are not as important as sometimes we give them credit for in our value. Our value doesn't depend upon our face or our bank account or our body. Our value is something so complex. Let's keep going. Anything else? Some real talk from the ancestors. What needs to be said here about building this confidence for this new beginning? Blazing your own trail. Venus. Venus is all about love, money, and the law of attraction. So yeah, value. We attract people and situations and opportunities to ourselves based upon the value that we hold. So if you're in a point where you're like, well, I don't have good things going for me, we have to believe in good things coming to be able to attract them and to witness them when they come, or we're going to be too busy looking at our thick thighs to notice the gentleman in the corner going, thick thighs, you know, whatever it might be for you. That sounded super creepy. Oh, that's not how I meant it. I'm just saying, if you're looking for opportunities and you're looking at everything that's wrong, you're never going to be able to really give yourself the confidence to go through, inner conflict. Maybe you've been alone a long time because you've been too busy beating yourself up to allow yourself to receive something that actually honors you, and now you're encountering it. Power couple. Compromise. Choose battles, yield, and share. Just share your insecurities so that person can set you straight. Self-care. That one almost goes without saying. Toxic friend or family member. So golden light code activation. Breathe deeply. Express and radiate. Take in the fresh air, nature. Ground yourself. Hydrate, cleanse, and clear. And diamond light code activation. Through transmutation of stress and trauma, you transform. The inner jewel shines through with your alchemical rebirth. Here, golden and diamond. Nice. I love to cuddle, kiss, water. I see you in my future. Mother issues. Legit. Next 48 hours. Build bridges. So yes, over the next 48 hours, if you can use your time to move into that affirming, transformational self-identification, it will, and using it on others too, even if you can't believe it yet with yourself. If you're going out and one of your friends that you're always like, oh, or, you know, I can't believe you're driving such a way like this, be like, well, I'm really glad that you stopped so long at those red lights, because it lets me know that you're taking your time to make sure that traffic isn't going to run us over, right? And maybe they might sense some sarcasm, but maybe then you can both have a good laugh instead of them feeling like, gosh, nothing I ever do is right. So yeah, take your mother out of your mouth and forgive her and love her for whatever her, he, it, whatever situation, for what it needs to be, and let that stuff go. So the 8 immortals, number 9. I always wish that the 8 immortals was the number 8 card. Wouldn't that be nice? Nobody asked my opinion. The messages you have been receiving that are unconditionally loving, fearless, and encouraging of you to grow and to be your true self are from your higher guidance. The 8 immortals and other beings of divine light and divine love are guiding you. It is safe to follow these messages now. Doing so will bring you greater joy. Yes, being yourself, right? So, 8 immortals, what are the generational issues that are coming through, interrupting our unique expression of self? The frequency of divine masculine supports our strong, focused, and active side, allowing it to express itself while helping us to bring our dreams and ideas into form with kindness and wisdom. Beautiful. So, kindness and wisdom and self-expression to support that strong, focused, active side without eclipsing into domination. We're providing and protecting those around us instead of exploiting and roasting individuals. Like I had this debate with different males in the past, but not all males can recognize when they call their friends I'm not supposed to swear on here, but the feminine body parts, or they call them their male heterosexual friends, gay slang words to, play with stealing each other's man card, or like, oh, you're just such a fill in the blank, or you're cheap, or you're this, you're that, right? Guys will quite often do this to each other to play around with the emasculation of each other. And I find that no matter how funny these guys think that is, I believe that these energetically are literally like slicing into each other's egos, which can be seen as breaking through the ego barriers, but miracle is under the deck. I think that it would be a miracle if guys and ladies that are in this competitive comparison, I have to jokingly pretend to make you small to make me seem better, even if we all know that I'm the one who's cheap, even if we know that I'm the one who whatever, then there's a breakthrough that can be allowed when we pair our wisdom with kindness. And even if we're going to joke with them about something, it's all about rephrasing and getting out of these, well, that person's too sensitive. They shouldn't be offended by me calling them, like somebody literally called me a retard the other day. I mean, how dated is that word, first of all? I highly encourage anyone still using that word in any type of a way, even if you're just talking about flame retardant. It's got too many connotative image or symbols coming through it, and it's like, if you want to call your friends silly, if they're making a joke, that's appropriate. If you want to call them something demeaning because you're just judging them, that's you being unhealed, right? And vice versa if people are doing this to you. So there's some kind of a miracle breakthrough here with witnessing the way that others use their energy, honoring the way that you have the opportunity to use your own energy, and not taking it personally and debilitating yourself, and then identifying with the bully energy and then becoming and putting that out into the world. We are not responsible for what others treated us like. We're responsible for shifting that and not doing that forward. We don't want to pay that crap forward. It seems simple to me, not to everyone. Merkaba. Yeah, that garbage gets all caught up in your energetic field and creates residue. Like, am I cheap? Maybe I should go and buy the next round for everybody, because that would show everybody how generous I am. Well, maybe they just wanted to get you to pay for the next round, and so they called you cheap so that you would do it because they didn't have money. So are you doing it for a good reason, or just because somebody's manipulating your ego? Are you a slave to your ego? And if you still feel like calling each other names is appropriate, or if others do, then perhaps there's a gentle way to call them to their attention, or just say, that word really is not appropriate here, and not appropriate in even the derogatory words that we would use for different groups of people. It's like, why do we need to perpetuate that? And I know that some people think that there are, not to get back into politics, but there's this idea that certain people are snowflakes or overly sensitive, while other people are the bootstraps guys, where it's like, well, my dad beat me every day for a year and nothing's wrong with me. Twitch, 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 bark, bark, yelling, competition, comparisons, toxicity, name calling. What we do, we are responsible for, and what we tolerate and let continue without calling it out in the moment. So there's a way to kindly bring somebody to a greater wisdom about how they're using their energy, but not to give them the rule book, but just to say, you know, I suspect that more people are sensitive to that than you believe, but because people don't want to be seen as sensitive or to be looked upon poorly or to tell you that you hurt their feelings, they're just going to laugh and smile at that. And then you're going to think that that's just all good and fine, but it's not. Yeah. The frequency of Merkaba supports our ability to use our consciousness to traverse into other layers of reality and dimensions. It activates our access to our Akashic inheritance as well, merging the totality of our experiences into our present to serve our highest purpose. So this to me talks about why are we using those, using energy in poor ways, and why are they, and the ability to perceive of somebody's vulnerabilities and exploit them and to manipulate and cajole is a poor use of our energy. And then we twist it around and say the other person is sensitive and that the other individual doesn't know pain and suffering when we don't know about that individual, and we're so desensitized to pain and suffering that do we really even know? Somebody who's already gone through healing is not going to be interested in being bulletproof. They're going to be interested in transcending and rising above and beyond those pitfalls, if you get my meaning. It's not about not being vulnerable and being real and being able to be hurt. It's about saying, you know, that's a really hurtful statement, and I know it's not true, and it doesn't hurt me that I don't think that you think that of me, right? But in my inner dialogue. However, I understand that this is where you're at, and I'm going to let you sit with that and say that, you know I'm not that way. So if you have such a preoccupation with people of different sexual orientations, maybe you should look into that. Or whatever, right? Or maybe you don't believe in the power of the VV, and that's why you call all your friends that. But I tell you what, some of these guys don't deserve to be called that. There's some power there. Root chakra, getting back to the root. Yeah, safety, security, insecurity, self. The root is when we're rooting into the parent. You'll see cats still, what do you call it, like kneading their pillows or something. In the same way that the child is really looking for the mother or father to cling to, because that is its source of safety and security. And many people, and especially those budding consciousnesses, not lower consciousness necessarily, but just not fully evolved or awakened consciousness, can be so caught up in this debris that they don't know how to appropriately root into bonding experiences with others. They may not have had that experience. And so when they're in their closest situations, they act in their most toxic form, because then it's going to be forgiven and expected. One more here. Coherence. Understanding the use of our energy and the impact of our energy upon others. Yeah, it's a miracle breakthrough moment where somebody finally understands something about the use of their energy and how to validate themselves and not look for validation in the external world, nothing left to prove, how to sublimate the ego and transcend those lower ego desires by truly listening. What is it I want to be called? I want to be called strong and capable, not weak and emasculated, right? Look at this, Council of Animals. You've been receiving so many signs and synchronicities and so many internal judgments after the fact of different situations, whether these are things that you perceive happening to you or happening through you, happening in front of you or to a loved one from somebody else in their situation, or from a loved one to somebody else in their world. Watching other people raise their children, that one's a big one. Watching children in public with their parents, and the parents are like, you know, talking in harsh ways, or like walking as fast as they can, and this tiny little kid's like trying to keep up, and they're yanked by their arm. It's like, I mean, I'm not talking about abuse, but I mean, if you see abuse, that's different. But I'm just saying, when we're witnessing these things out in the world, there are ways that we can impact that situation without necessarily going in and like, oh, well, you shouldn't be dragging your child like that. Well, who's going to be responsive to some stranger in the store telling them how to raise their children, right? Or in the restaurant. And nobody wants their kid to be the noisy one in the restaurant and be looked at. So maybe you have an eyeline look at that kid, and maybe you can just like peekaboo around your dinner guests and kind of like get that child to take an interest in something else, you know, divert or redirect a situation. You can do this with your friends as well. There are different ways to do this. 7 of Visions. Anything else? Okay, the Wise Woman, yes. So that's the 2, which looks like an 11 to me when it's in the Roman numeral form. And we do have Divine Masculine as the 22. So somebody has possibly encountered somebody wiser than themselves, possibly the viewer. You may be the wise person, or just really coming into your own wisdom and the ancestors speaking through signs, synchronicities, and the internal self-judgment that comes through when we are looking at the ways that we've used energy and saying, oh, well, why did I say that? That wasn't as nice. Or maybe I should apologize. Was I wrong? Should I apologize? You know, there's some type of a reevaluation and wisdom coming through. Forest Lord is under the deck here. That's the Emperor card here, that wild boar next to him. Talks about somebody who's maturing, who's very in tune with intuition, instincts, and all of that. Anything else? The Tower, the Folly, it's called in this deck, 16. So somebody has taken us down a notch. Look at all these bats, and they almost look like they're flying into a heart-shaped pattern around that. It's like a heart breakthrough where we're really looking at ourselves and practicing a new way of being, and practicing taking opportunities as they come and witnessing the closed doors that are possibly, they may be, can they be opened again, or are they closed forever because of things? Or have you written people off and burned bridges with people that didn't see eye to eye or spoke to you in a harsh way? Seeker of Boons, that is a Knight of Pentacles, looking for, and Keeper of Visions and 7 of Visions under the deck. Yeah, this is more of that Divine Masculine's ability to seek value and to speak to the highest in their friends and relatives and people in their environment, and to put in that long game effort to bring something to fruition. So if you want to build something, even if it's just a partnership or friendship, there's got to be some type of a value exploration here, moving beyond scarcity and competition, which is at the root of those insecurities and the projected name callings, and to recognize how we're all one with each other. Nine of Acorns, power and perseverance. So pulling through and recognizing your power as the shaman, I'm feeling, because I always recognize this jaguar energy as a shamanic energy. Witnessing, our power to help other individuals to come into their own or to challenge their sense of self. The Chariot, discipline and determination. There's that discipline word again. So it came out in both these piles here. 7, the Chariot, discipline and determination, is about I feel it's self-control in the moment. Transformation, transition, and liberation. I don't know if that's a cicada, which they hibernate and go dormant for a few years and then come out every 3rd year. Is that what it is? So maybe you've been going through a Mars cycle where Mars takes 2 years to go all the way around the zodiac generally. And then on the 3rd year, there's this new start, right? Maybe something has taken 3 years. Let's get some more. Here's the dragonfly energy again. 6 of feathers, transition and insight. So that's so interesting. You've got transition a couple of times here in that dragonfly energy. One more. Queen of feathers, perception and truth. So using your voice to perceive what's the truth about somebody versus exploiting things and giving people complexes. I mean, I know that we're not responsible for how other people take our energy, but we are responsible for how we express ourselves. Okay, under that it wanted to be seen 19, the sun, vitality and joy with the hummingbird. Yeah, we have the capacity to raise our vibe to the point where we recognize what is special, unique, and amazing about every individual, and what makes them feel strong and capable and secure. Maybe instead of saying, man, you're so cheap, be like, man, you are so good with your money. We're going to all be broke here, and you're going to be the only one with money at the end of the night. So when that happens, you got to get us all home. Something like that. Because then that person is like, oh, well, I'm not being judged harshly for being not generous with my friends and people, but I'm being judged as being responsible. Oh, I never told you. What's at the basis for doing these things? The inner child, the immature masculine that wants to compete and be better than. It's time to change. 5555. Ascending master. And Uranus again with heart chakra, and I wasn't at my best learning lessons. Initials E, F, G, and H. True North, I feel you're my destiny. And trust issues. Yeah, trust issues. With friends particularly. When you know better, when you know that people are hurt or going to be manipulated, to do those things to others is to exploit them unfairly. And that is introducing and inviting a karma to follow you further. Does that make sense? Because you know that you're manipulating or exploiting, doing it anyways, thinking that it's fun and games, while the other individual, you're capitalizing on something that they don't understand about themselves. So the use of our power becomes something that entangles us in either a karmic loop and interrupts our abundance and receiving of our better attraction patterns. But yeah, it's a choice. That's what I want to say. Very interesting. You will find what you seek. You were born with that it quality. Anything else? Hubba hubba. You know that dreamy look of deep, soulful love you've sometimes seen in the eyes of another as they gazed into your own? Expect a lot more of it. Woohoo, the universe. So yeah, when you're speaking to the highest in somebody, or when you're, and that seems to be something, this seems to be all one message here, where there's this good thaw, these self-limiting beliefs that need to start to shift within our own path, to stop putting up with things that are unfulfilling. And in that decision, we're still stagnant for a moment, taking the pause to decide what needs to go. And in the second stack here, we're working on that attraction pattern of then how we're judging the self and others, and taking our transformation to the next level. And then the third one, we're taking it from there and recognizing how to not only affirm, but to then uplift and transform the inner child of self and others. So we're taking the activation when we recognize the power and we connect with others that speak to the highest in ourselves, and then we're going out and then possibly correcting others through the use of kindness and compassion instead of harshness. So what if you're actually an ancient gladiator of love and joy who agreed to visit Earth during these primitive years to spark some new thinking, share a few smiles, and help others discover they too are awesome? Just saying, the universe. P.S. Up for a joust? Of course, with rubber thingies. In case anyone should ask, your heart isn't so large because of your wings. It's your wings that are so large because of your heart. Sometimes loving so much can be pretty heavy. Thanks for all you've shared, the universe. P.S. It's just another one of those nutty body algorithm things. Beautiful. So we're talking about a little bit of biochemistry with these code activations, and the ancestors are telling us it's this shifting of self-belief, transmuting within, transcending without, and setting that example for the world. So, all right, I'm going to leave those there. This was a much friendlier and more positive message than the last ones that came through from the previous ancestor reading. I'd like to keep this vibe up as much as possible. All right, take care, and if that resonated, do share, like, comment, subscribe, all of those good things, and keep on helping us get the messages out to those that need to hear them. Thank you so much. Take care.